A YouTuber named Angelo Black gathers some friends and together they head to a local tunnel that's rumored to get more terrifying and dangerous the farther down you go. They begin their journey with the goal of going deeper than anyone has dared to before. Laughing and joking at first, but soon growing more serious as they huddle close, banding together against the gnawing claustrophobic dread that nobody wants to be the first to acknowledge. Eventually, they find a lonely portion of pipe that is next to no graffiti and bravely keep going. After traveling a great distance, they're now staring down an even narrower passageway that feels wrong enough to make all of them stop. One of them asks who's there, and this wild growl comes from the darkness within.
Come closer.
Before they even have time to react, the camera person thinks a face is looking at them, which I don't see, but I do hear this faint moan shortly afterwards. It's definitely coming from up ahead.
Wait. What do you see? Wait. What is it?
The moan soon changes into the same growl again, even louder this time, that I think might actually be a rusty old drain pipe letting loose. Still, I wouldn't take any chances by sticking around, especially not after I heard this. Their phone mysteriously stops recording at this point, and they get out of there fast. But whether it stopped recording because of a low battery, or because of paranormal interference has never been verified. A large white creature has been constantly creeping around the yard of a YouTuber named Sans for a long time now, and no one knows what it is. The latest sighting happens during broad daylight, and his camera is able to pick up more detail than ever before. You can see here that the creature is not very big, roughly around the same size of a nearby dog, and judging from this dog's behavior, I'd say this is clearly a real creature and not one of his friends wearing a costume. If you need more proof that this isn't a person, watch how it scratches its head with its foot at a weird angle. No human would be able to kick that fast. I would say that this is a rabbit, but I don't really see any ears and the legs look distinctly human when it walks. Tell me what animal you think this is. Until I get a better explanation, I will continue thinking that this is probably a humanoid of some kind. You may remember me talking about D-Menace in a previous video, but I wanted to give this video a further analysis. To describe D-Menace in short terms, the best would probably be adrenaline junkie. First appearing on YouTube in 2018, he has posted a variety of videos from conducting one-breath dives to venturing deep into tight caves. His videos are not for the faint of heart and can distress people with the feats he conducts. He has also posted several urban exploration videos. In June 2020, D ventured into an abandoned malt factory complex with several buildings to explore. All alone, he traveled through the dark and derelict halls. For the first half of the video, nothing particularly strange happens. D ventures through the various passages and even into the basement, finding strange and even beautiful graffiti on the walls. As he approaches the stairs to the basement, he feels apprehension as, in his words, the walls and ceiling begin to resemble the altered state of Silent Hill when it transitions to Otherworld.
I think I reached a really dangerous and scary part here because it's starting to feel and look exactly like in Silent Hill.
After some time, he decides to continue down the depths. Here, he finds a red bed or chair, something that gives him the creeps. Written on it in German is, "Raise your legs and chill." He continues to explore the basement, but is in a constant state of discomfort from the darkness and his mind playing tricks on him. Therefore, he decides to head back upstairs. He then states part of what creeps him out about this place is the lack of wildlife residing in the building. Unlike other places he's explored, he hasn't seen a single bird or rodent since arriving. As he makes his way into the second part of the complex, he begins to feel more anxious, hearing noises around him. He admits he is unaware if it is because he is simply spooked, or if there's another person inside with him. Not long after making this statement, D discovers he is, in fact, not alone in the complex. As he is showing the view out the window, a man suddenly and casually walks out from the trees. Completely oblivious, D sees and is recording him. The man walks calmly to the same building D is in, but D is clearly nervous and says he hopes the man does not have ill intent. He then hears the man speaking, but it is unknown to whom. After, D becomes quiet, listening and acting increasingly anxious. Soon he enters a similar room to where he first saw the man walking up and is startled to see a pair of legs on the other side of a hole in the wall. He quickly quiets down and kneels, but realizes the man must have heard him as the legs retreat in the opposite direction. Realizing the risk of the situation, he decides to try and exit the building. However, as he approaches a corner, the man emerges and pushes D to the ground. After some exchanged words, the two men calm down and discover it was a simple misunderstanding. The other individual, named Jonathan, is just another urban explorer who is also unsure of D's intentions. Luckily this time, for both men, neither were there for anything bad, and were just wanting to check the place out. D's video is a wake-up call for anyone intending to do their own exploration or even ghost hunts. Abandoned buildings pose all sorts of hazards, mostly from the decaying condition of the structures posing physical hazards. What is often overlooked is the possibilities of others in the building who could potentially be living there or committing unsavory deeds away from prying eyes. Both D and Jonathan were justified in their suspicion of each other, and on this occasion were able to laugh it off and even continue to explore the building together. It is likely this made the adventure safe, as the two would now be able to look out for one another in case an accident occurred. It goes as a reminder to how the paranormal is not the only thing to be afraid of on these tours. D was definitely thanking his lucky stars he stumbled across Jonathan, as both explorers decided to head into the basement, as D felt it was better to have company. Down there they find spray cans, a piece of a bicycle body, and a package. However, down a deep corridor, D finds a bone. While it could be misinterpreted for a human, Jonathan points out it doesn't appear to be. On analysis, it more so resembles one someone would give their dog to chew on. Regardless, D decides to leave the bone there. Certainly an adrenaline-inducing adventure this time, and thankfully D made a new friend to explore with. Still goes to show how careful one must be about the place they explore, as well as who might be in it. Urban explorer Steve Ronan is exploring a town by a lake that was opened in the 1950s and had a very dark history. They had an entire arena where dogs were forced to do horrible things and had multiple passings in the town under strange circumstances. It has since been abandoned and is now considered a ghost town with paranormal energy. Steve explores the area with some locals who show him around. While the entire exploration has some seriously creepy vibes, there's two parts in particular that are especially frightening. At 12 minutes and 20 seconds, Steve says he caught a demon on camera. Do you see it here?
Right here.
Yes.
Is
And again at 31 minutes and 20 seconds, Steve says more paranormal activity is caught on tape here.
same with this. Even this mirror over here. You can see the reflection of the door. And my flashlight. But you can't even see me.
Overall, I would stay far away from that ghost town. A YouTuber named Isaiah Fleming makes a YouTube video of himself cleaning his dirty room as motivation to actually get the job done and over with. During the course of this cleaning, the television turns on by itself, which I guess could be explained by accidentally stepping on the remote or something, and the door opens by itself, which is caught on two different angles and much harder to explain. The room is looking much cleaner after 2 hours, and he takes a break to go do something else. This next part almost has to be edited because it's literally impossible. Okay, so the door opens at 11:41 at night, and this time, without showing any breaks in the timestamp, a childhood stuffed bear disappears from view. Isaiah comes back to find the television changes to one of the cameras he has just set up in the other room. It looks like he is trying to use his remote control, but it's useless. Nothing is there then. With a flash of static, the bear is somehow sitting in the chair. He can't believe what he is witnessing at first, but as he looks to the floor, slowly realizing his house is haunted, he misses this eerie figure watching him through his own screen. Strange and mysterious sounds are coming from a hole in the ground that sounds like a hidden entrance to another world. These scary noises sound like some kind of evil ocean. It makes you wonder if water is nearby. With that said, I did notice that these strange noises were caught on camera during a windy day. So I'm hoping this is actually just wind rushing through some kind of construction tunnel for a pipe or something, and not a scary hissing creature. This may surprise you, but there are certain tribes around the Amazon rainforest that have never had contact with the modern outside world. These shots from above paint a picture of these uncontacted tribes being hostile towards seeing helicopters and drones in the air. So encounters with them are quite rare, since it's best not to interfere with these tribes. So this new drone footage was jaw-dropping when they actually managed to capture this uncontacted tribe on video. If you look closely, you can see there's 16 people quietly walking through the rainforest here. I think it's best if they don't try to get any closer. They certainly don't want a repeat of what happened before. It's creepy to think there's people on this earth who have never seen the modern world, but I agree these groups should remain uncontacted and self-sufficient. A woman has a full-on break from reality while on public transportation. She carries a full conversation with herself in some sort of laughing tone that only she can understand. Then she becomes absolutely overwhelmed with grief before snapping out of it. When someone approaches her to offer comfort, she switches back to laughter with a glare. The person wisely keeps their distance and does not come any closer. Next, the woman pulls out a dirty towel with stains and disappears into her own world, apparently laughing again. I really hope she gets the help she needs, because this seems like some sort of mental episode that needs to be treated fast. She and everyone around her are lucky that this didn't escalate to the point where someone had to physically intervene. Earl Quest is certain that his mirror in his house is haunted because he is always seeing weird things in it out of the corner of his eye. Finally, one day he's had enough and decides to simply record behind him to figure out once and for all what exactly his haunting mirror is trying to show him. Imagine his surprise when his own reflection turns around. Actually, he isn't surprised at all, and that seems like the strangest thing about this video when you think about it. Most people would drop the camera and run screaming if they saw this, but he just keeps the same face like it's no big deal, which doesn't sound like a realistic reaction to me. This TikTok video, while scary, must not be real because he doesn't even so much as look back at his reflection. 3 friends know of a haunted abandoned place in Egypt that needs exploring. Little do they know how wrong their paranormal investigation will have gone by the end of that night. Fresh writing on the wall that gives them pause. It might be a warning of sorts or maybe a puzzle. They spend quite some time trying to figure it out and never manage to. What does it say? That's when they think they hear something upstairs, something that can mimic their movements. They go upstairs to confront it and hear a noise at the bottom of the steps where they just were.
بالسلام انا باقص معاهم لما تديني التليفون تعالوا الكسر التحت يا جدعان ها خلوا بالكم تعالوا الكسر التحت تقع كده لا تحت.
As they turn around, there's a wall full of handprints marking where people were trying to get away from something. At the bottom are two floating white eyes. They are checking out more red handprints when their paranormal investigation somehow gets even creepier. A jinn's figure fills the doorway on the top floor. They run down the steps fast, and seconds later, the slow-moving figure somehow passes by them again. Well, they are looking up where it was last spotted. With a flip of his scarf, the bravest of all sets forth to the exit and is almost touched. Here is a still image of the jinn's face taken at 9 minutes and 46 seconds. I think it might be a mask, but what if it's really a weird misshapen face? They say this is real. Should we believe them? Chelsea Luna and her friend James go ghost hunting in an old haunted tunnel from the 1920s. This creepy shadow figure at 18 minutes and 7 seconds is what they find. Everyone says that this is a real ghost sighting, but I'm pretty sure this alleged apparition is simply Chelsea's finger while pointing at something. You can kind of see the rest of her hand when you look close, a split second before it happens. So I think this scary ghost sighting is an accident and not real. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by a sleepad8673, this redditor wrote, Randonautica at its finest. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Oh, it smells horrible. Oh, yeah. It's in the middle of the woods.
So the keys have to be in there.
Yeah. Yeah. The lights came on.
It appears this redditor stumbled upon a creepy abandoned car in the middle of nowhere with the help of Randonautica. In the comments, Chi Jojo said, "This is like the third Randonautica video I've seen of cars being abandoned in the middle of the woods. One had a child's voice coming out of nowhere saying, 'Do you want to play?' Strange indeed." To which the redditor who found this car replied, "I'm so glad there's no audible EVPs asking me if I want to play, especially a child's voice. For some reason, that's even creepier. Somebody on Reddit helped me get the VIN number and ran it. Came back with an alert for a reported stolen vehicle, so it appears this abandoned car was stolen. Now the question on my mind is, who took the car and left it here? What do you make of the creature in this creepy video? Published in June of 2017, a car is driving through a desert when it slows to a stop. Some animals appear in the area near a fence. From far off, they look like they could be anything. Cows, dogs, the video is unclear, but as the camera zooms in and the car backs up and then turns around to get an unobstructed view, we see that at least one of the creatures looks like something from a horror movie. It almost looks like a humanoid doing a bear crawl, but I can't imagine a human being able to pull that off for as long as this creature does. The way it moves is not characteristic of any animal. It's unnatural. The creature continues on, trotting alongside the other animals. Is this human, humanoid, animal, or some other unknown? It definitely is something I've never seen before. When you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield, take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman, dressed in white, walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there." They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide. A YouTuber named Hugo Blog is curiously poking around an old abandoned mansion with his friends in Houston as they search for nothing in particular. The crumbling estate looks like it could fall on their heads at any minute, but they bravely keep going in as deep as they dare. I don't speak any Spanish, but I can tell by their voices that they get weirded out by something and decide to leave. Later, they are all reviewing the video of their exploration, along with some digital pictures, when one still shot in particular grabs their attention. Can you see the silhouette of a girl peering at them through the railing? I definitely can. Another YouTuber named Luis Gomez says that he went there too, and that his camera picked up two children standing in a doorway looking at him, much like the photo you just saw. But this story gets much weirder than that. There's a bunch of text at the end of the video that says someone met their end in the house. Nobody was able to find the person responsible. I wasn't sure if I believed this story, so I did some Googling, and I managed to find the exact same text on a Houston police blotter. The police gave an address, and when I put it into Google Maps, it took me back to the house in the video. In other words, the story is real, and someone really did meet their end at this location. Nobody knows why. Needless to say, Hugo Blog has not been back since. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in August of 2021, Dennis set up cameras in a bunker hidden beneath a school, and this abandoned bunker in Germany has some mysteries up its sleeve. One camera captures a door slowly opening. In another room in the school above, Dennis asks for a sign that someone's here, and this is the response.
Наверное, знак, если надо где-то еще искать.
In the bunker, a blast makes Dennis jump. It sounds like it's coming from this box. Later, the light from his camera shuts off, and he's left in the darkness. Through the spirit box, the spirits tell him it's a trap. Strange carnival-like music seems to be coming from the spirit box. As Dennis's lights continue to malfunction, he has no escape. The door to the room is locked, and he can't get it open. He is in the darkness again with only a lighter to keep him company, while something unknown growls from the shadows. Later, he is told through the spirit box not to come. He finds the previously locked door mysteriously open to him. After racing out of there with his equipment, we can only imagine that he heeded the spirit's advice and never returned, which is a smart call. Jump in the DeLorean and go back to this 90s home stuck in time. YouTuber Ranger Rick TV visits the abandoned place where a homeowner passed away, leaving everything behind. The calendar is left on the date she passed away.
And we have a calendar date, so this tells me that whoever last passed away in this house was on April 1992.
Behind the wall of one room lies a mystery, unsolved.
Makes me really curious about this wall right here. Let me light it up so you can see what I'm seeing. It looks like this was part of, well, this is the wall right here. But why do they have this little cutout right here? Something makes me think
The main bedroom is left in disarray.
And then we walk into this room right here.
But the room where the homeowner passed away has been left untouched, and for good reason.
This is probably my favorite room in the whole house, for obvious reasons. Just because it's like the main room. I already told you the backstory on this place, and yep, this is where the lady passed away.
The poor woman likely passed away alone, and her body wasn't discovered for a long time. Such a sad story, and one I won't be able to forget for a long time coming. History is bound to affect the aura of some places. Particularly history as chilling as Lemp mansions. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Baked Potato, the Redditor writes, "This video was taken off my friend's old phone when she visited the Lemp mansion years ago. Before we analyze the clip, you'll need to know a little background on Lemp Mansion. The historical house in St. Louis, Missouri, was the home of the Lemp family in the early 20th century. 3 of the Lemps would go on to take their own lives in the family home. The only surviving Lemp was Edwin, who lived until the age of 90. He did not live in the Lemp family home, however. He moved to his own estate later on. Needless to say, with all these horrific and sad occurrings in Lemp Mansion, some believe it's haunted by spirits. It's now a restaurant and inn that offers haunted and historical tours, and also hosts Halloween parties and dinner theater. Perhaps it was at one of these events that a Redditor's friend caught this frightening footage. As the friend wanders around the mansion in the short clip, you can see odd moving shapes throughout, but the scariest appears at the end. A dark figure lurks in the bright light of the window, materializing out of thin air. It then disappears when the camera pans back around again. According to the Redditor, his friend didn't see the figure at the time. Redditor Fluffy Socks writes, "If you slow it down and look frame by frame, you'll see he's sitting there looking out the window. Gives me a pretty weird feeling, TBH. Do you have that feeling too? I certainly do." A man is filming this old medieval building on the Mediterranean island of Sardinia when he notices the curtains of a balcony window are peeled back slightly to reveal a small grayish object peeking out from the bottom. Zoom in, and it almost looks like a tiny face, or else the top of someone's head who is very short, perhaps a small child. It could be a reflection of the palm tree swaying in the wind, or it could be a trapped spirit staring haplessly at the world to which it no longer belongs. If you are considering visiting an abandoned house on your own, take this video as a warning. YouTuber Joey CTV set out to explore this abandoned house. As he sets foot inside, he announces his arrival, but no one answers.
Is anybody upstairs? Speak now. It doesn't mean that they'll speak.
But after a moment though, he hears something.
I just heard something.
Is he just hearing things? Nope.
There's somebody walking upstairs. Come on. Who's walking upstairs?
Let's head upstairs to find out. He hears an EVP on the staircase and then makes a break for it. There's no question that someone or something is upstairs, but I'd like to know whether it's people or paranormal. Is this place haunted? Or is there a person squatting here? I guess the answer to that question will remain a mystery for now. Is this a ghost or just the cold? Posted to the r/chills narrator subreddit by Louis D Vlogs X. This scary video was filmed in a cemetery during a live stream. The video shows old tombstones scattered throughout the graveyard. As the camera pans around, that's when you see it.
Yeah. Like level out. Does it take ages for the grass to settle?
A semi-transparent figure appears to walk across the screen from right to left. It's so quick that it's difficult to tell what you're looking at. The camera then lands on one of the living crew, and it doesn't seem as though any of them saw this figure in the moment. Some in the comments think it's the cold breath of the crew member that you see moments later, but it certainly looks more solid than a breath in cold air. What do you think? I think some spirits are quite active at this graveyard. A YouTuber named Essie Styles is camping in the woods of Hinton, Canada, when he hears the last thing that anyone wants to hear just outside of their tent. A lone wolf's howl pierces through their conversation and renders both Essie Styles and his friend silent as night sets in. They soon realize they are vastly outnumbered. If anyone watching this happens to be an animal wildlife expert, I'd like to know if these wolves were howling because they were aware of the human presence nearby, or if this was for some other reason. Perhaps this was a warning to Essie Styles not to come any closer, although I'm sure he and his friend did not need any extra convincing. This driver records a potentially supernatural highway encounter that leaves him speechless and terrified. According to the driver, this person was missing their head. Look again and you'll see it does look like they have no head, but it's probably just the way the headlights overpower the camera. There's just one thing though, even when they do get past the headlights, it still appears as if there is nothing above their shoulders. When you think you're home alone, and then this happens. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Esco Season 95, the Redditor writes, I was messing around with my dog, just us two were home, and my door did this. The video shows the Redditor playing with her dog's mouth, baring his teeth, when suddenly behind him, the door, which is opened into the bedroom, slowly swings closed before slamming shut. She specifies that her door never closes like this, and there were no doors or windows open to create a draft. While some think there are too many ways to fake videos with closing doors, others don't believe it's faked, but cite air pressure or other circumstances that might have caused this. Dark Lord of Pretzels writes, whether or not it's paranormal doesn't matter, because if I was home alone and that exact scenario happened to me, I'd nope out of there so fast. I feel like most of us would agree with that statement. YouTuber Jossie Sandhu Official captured what he believes is a real witch on camera. First, he hears her crying. Then he sees her.
What? What?
Then she lets out this wail that would drive anyone away.
What you got?
Is this truly a witch? I think so. I've never heard something so otherworldly in my life. Who is standing on the side of this road? While driving at night, paranoiacs captured this obscure figure standing there in the darkness. When they back up a moment later, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I think it's probably for the best that she disappeared. This is one hitchhiker you really shouldn't pick up. I want to know what you think about this interesting paranormal video posted by Darkalooz. First, two pieces of his overhead vent fall off, but when it happens, the camera freezes. So is this an electronic interference from spirits, or is it poor editing? Next, this chair turns all by itself. It's by a window and behind a table, and therefore far out of reach. Perhaps eeriest of all are these two legs with no upper reflection. You would logically assume this is Darkalu's recording, but if it was, as one commenter points out, then where is the rest of him? Kazzy is with Danny Dorito and Ali H to find evidence of a spirit that they think is haunting not just this house, but most of the surrounding forest as well. They come across a ritual that someone left behind for some reason, possibly in a hurry. They figure out how to complete it, and hear a noise shortly after reciting these ancient words, which I'm hoping someone who happens to practice magic might be able to recognize and tell us more.
Rolf, Niap, Ro.
They decide to leave everything behind and are well on their way back home when something ahead interrupts their hike.
Hello?
At 4 minutes, I can see what appears to be a normal pair of white tennis shoes that kind of looks out of place, so I'm not exactly convinced that this is real. Once a seminary school and then a hospice for displaced women, Madison Seminary in Ohio is supposedly haunted. With over 170 years of history, its walls are open to the YouTube team Charm City Paranormal for investigation. In one of the rooms, known as Sarah's room, the team's paranormal devices are triggered.
Spine. So, this is too.
When one of the team goes to check out the K2 meter, it moves slightly without explanation. A moment later, they hear a disembodied voice.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Here it is with the audio boosted. Is Sarah here? What does she want from her newfound company? Whoever's spirit this is, I feel she's ready to communicate. A YouTube channel called Free For All plans to explore a series of tunnels underneath Minneapolis that are rumored to eventually lead to a place called Satan's Cave, which no one has ever seen before. The group of friends grow progressively dirtier as they squeeze through narrow opening after narrow opening, sometimes climbing through sections of the tunnel that have almost completely collapsed, just to see what's next. Soon the brick walls give way to smooth gray stone that more closely resembles the likes of a cave. When they see these highly detailed faces carved into the wall, they know they are on the right track. It's definitely a creepy sight for sure, but walls are still covered with tons of graffiti, which means that 1 million people have been here before. They aren't crossing new territory, at least not yet. After a while, they happen upon a side tunnel that seems to be unmarked and unexplored. They have to hunch over and eventually crawl on their hands and knees in order to continue. It's a long time before they stumble upon what has to be the narrow mouth of Satan's Cave. The cave eventually opens into a cramped chamber of sorts. The situation becomes all too real when they realize the hole in the wall is too narrow to crawl through. There is a hole to their left that leads straight down into pitch black darkness. Everyone gets an uneasy feeling about this huge floor opening, and they wisely decide to turn back around. Judging from the cave's nickname, I definitely wouldn't want to see what's down that final hole either. Being scared of your attic is a common fear, but the description of this video reads like something straight out of a horror movie script. A man named Charlie says things have been getting weird lately because, if his suspicions are correct, someone living in his attic has been dropping notes for him to read down through the vent. The vent itself has bugs sticking out of it and is just a creepy mess. It's hard to tell what the note actually says, but at 11 seconds you can make out a few typed out letters. When you look at the note from a different angle at 32 seconds, you can see the sentence appears to end with the word 1. That's when things get even weirder. From deeper within the vent, something moves.
This is moving.
I want to say this is all in his head, but the thing is I see it too. A mysterious figure glaring at him from the darkness at 31 seconds. Here it is, close up. 2 white eyes and a small humanoid cranium. Not a mouse, not a person. And when he looks up again moments later, the creepy thing is gone. Something has seen Charlie and it knows his fears. In August of 2020, a YouTuber named Ryan Privy launched a solo ghost hunting expedition in room 423 of Irwin Street Inn in California, which is said to be haunted by a rowdy ghost, 3 of them to be exact. He concentrates on getting a ghost on tape, and soon he's surrounded by questionable noises, a strange tapping that sounds like it could be from the other room at first. But later, at 22 seconds to be precise, the weird sounds have graduated to the other side of his door. And then another clear knocking noise, like something coming from inside the wall. The ghost continues traveling around the room until Ryan suspects it's now at the window.
Are you scratching on the window?
It confirms its presence each time it makes a sound, and it makes a variety of sounds in a number of locations, so I think these scary noises are coming from an apparition in the same room as Ryan. Imagine singing the world's creepiest song while riding down a 100-year-old elevator in a haunted hospital. Well, you don't have to imagine it. TikToker Dref David TV shares this video of just such a fearless thrill seeker. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due. I'm half crazy, all for that. The guy shuts himself in and rides it down, and many in the comments are awestruck. Won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage. But you'll look sweet on the seat of a bicycle. Illusion or not, if I wasn't afraid of the ghosts, I'd at least have some fear to spare for that elevator. This laboratory is said to be frequented by a spirit who is always near. Here you can see a door pull open by itself with no one standing on the other side. Just in case you were thinking someone could have opened it off camera, here's the same event from another angle, this time taken from the other side. No one is nearby, otherwise they would have cast a shadow on the wall, or else be visible in the reflection of the clean lab floor. Unless this door is controlled by a button we can't see, then there should be no way for it to open by itself. So what do you think? Is this real or just a staged video cooked up by a bored scientist at work? A slamming door wakes up Tiana Wilson and her family, who have long suspected their house to be haunted. They grab a camera and timidly go exploring upstairs. Shortly afterwards, an alarm fills the house and things get even creepier.
Oh, listen.
No way. Oh, so we need to go.
That's what the beacon is. It's the fridge.
They shut the fridge and wonder how it was opened in the first place. That's when their grandmother, who is staying with them for a few days, comes to see what the commotion is.
Did you leave the fridge door open, Mom?
I can't remember if I did. I know I went in and took a bucket of water out. Probably I did.
The grandmother isn't sure if she left the fridge open or not.
You been asleep, Ruby? Yes, in the night down here wake me up. I don't get up this time of morning.
Is my mum a ghost?
But she definitely didn't shut any doors.
So it's about 1:30.
I can see something.
And when they go back and review the video, they find a shadow figure staring at them from the end of the hallway. Freaky, right? YouTuber Hassan Barbar writes that the Jinn of the Stick is the strongest thing in the world of the Jinn, and he's captured it on video. Let's take a look.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Soon you can hear the jinn moaning nearby.
طب ليش انت ما ظهرت اي لما كان الشيخ هون؟
And finally Hassan comes across the jinn's stick.
انت وحده؟ يعني طب ليش وقعتيها؟ يعني تخوفيني اطلع من المكان؟ برجعه هسه الشيخ. برجع الشيخ هون. ها في صوت.
Hassan follows the sound of a bottle being kicked around, but he finds nothing.
ها معقول؟
Is the jinn up to his games again? I think he just might be, and if that's the case, Hassan had better be careful. The jinn is around every corner. Night Owl 2007 published this video of a creepy sewer creature in February of 2018. In the video, some guys are walking along the road at night when they stop at a big heavy manhole cover and proceed to enter into the sewer. They remember how scary the sewer is, long dark tunnels, loud echoes. In order to see how deep one of the tunnels goes, the crew cracks a neon stick light and, turning off all other light sources, throws it into the tunnel. The tunnel must be deep, but the depths do terminate, as you can still see a tiny pinprick of light in the distance. As they're playing around with the neon sticks, the camera catches a skull-like face peeking over one of the crew's shoulders.
I don't think you're throwing out enough light here. What do you think? What the?
It looks like a ghoulish mask leering behind him, but when the guy moves out of the way and the cameraman casts his camera beyond, there's nothing there. Needless to say, the entire crew springs into action, racing out of that sewer like no one's business. There's a roaring sound at the end, echoing as they jet out of the tunnel. We can assume they made it out alive, otherwise we wouldn't have this video to show for it.